Remember the promise? A golden age of television, where every movie, every TV show, every piece of media ever created would be available at our fingertips. An endless library, accessible from our living rooms, on demand, anytime. No more channel surfing, no more waiting for reruns. This was the utopia of streaming. But if you've spent any time trying to find a specific show recently, you've probably felt it. That nagging frustration, that sense that something is wrong. You have 5 different subscriptions, a library of thousands of titles, and yet that one show you really want to watch is nowhere to be found. We were promised an age of abundance, but what we got feels a lot like scarcity. This is the great paradox of the streaming era. We have more to watch than ever before, but it's become harder than ever to watch what we want. So, what happened? How did the dream of everything on demand turn into a fragmented, expensive, and frustrating nightmare? To understand this paradox, let's look at a perfect, baffling example. A new medical show called The Pit. In the United States, it was the talk of the television year. It was a massive success, even winning the Emmy for Best Drama. You would think a show this popular would be available everywhere, right? Wrong. As journalist Imogen West Knights noted in Prospect magazine, it is still not possible to watch it in the UK. This isn't some obscure indie production. This is a hit American show, and its absence from the international market is, as she puts it, a real rarity nowadays. So why is it missing? The reasons are a perfect snapshot of the new barriers to watching television. First, there's a legal battle. The estate of Michael Crichton, the creator of the legendary show ER, believes The Pit is an unauthorized spin-off and is suing over it. Second, and more tellingly, his business strategy. The streaming service Max is scheduled to launch in the UK in 2026, and many speculate they are holding The Pit back to use it as a flagship show to lure in new subscribers. Think about that. A hit show is being deliberately kept from an entire country, not because of technology, but because of lawsuits and marketing plans. This is the new reality. The obstacles are no longer technical, they are commercial. And this strategy is a far cry from how things used to be. Not so long ago, we lived in what the article calls a more lawless era of the internet. If you wanted to stream something illegally, it was relatively easy to do so. A whole ecosystem of dodgy websites with names like Let Me Watch My Show, Net, existed in the shadows, offering up vast back catalogs of TV shows and movies. But over the past decade, that has changed dramatically. There has been a serious and effective clampdown by copyright holders on these sites. The digital Wild West has been tamed. The tech-savvy among us had another solution, the VPN, or Virtual Private Network, a tool that could trick a streaming service into thinking you were in another country. But even that loophole is closing. Streaming giants have gotten much better at detecting and blocking VPNs, and they've added other barriers. The article tells the story of a friend who, even when using a VPN to sign up for Max in the US, was ultimately scuppered by the requirement to provide an American phone number. The old ways of getting around the system are dying. We are being forced into the official, sanctioned ecosystem of streaming, and that ecosystem is a battlefield. The central reason for our frustration can be summed up in one phrase: the siloing of content between different streamers. Think of it like this. In the old days of cable TV, you paid one company, one bill, and you got a bundle of hundreds of channels. You might not have watched all of them, but they were there. Today, each of those channels is its own separate company, demanding its own separate subscription. Netflix is a channel. Hulu is a channel. Max, Disney Plus, Paramount Plus, Peacock. They are all individual channels you have to pay for. The result is that, as the article points out, the tele-crazy have to subscribe to a slew of platforms to keep up, which is a work, and B, expensive. But why did this happen? The answer is the streaming wars. As each new media giant launched its own platform, the primary weapon to attract and, more importantly, Retained subscribers became exclusive content. Disney pulled all its Marvel and Star Wars movies from Netflix to make them exclusive to Disney+. NBC Universal did the same with The Office, moving it to Peacock. Each platform wants to become a walled garden. They want to have something you can't get anywhere else, forcing you to subscribe. The promise of a universal library has been shattered and replaced by dozens of smaller, locked libraries. The age of abundance was just a temporary truce. Now, we are in the age of digital fences. While the example of The Pit shows how frustrating geo-blocking is for international audiences, the problem of siloing inside the United States is even more complex and infuriating. It's a uniquely American mess of bundles, blackouts, and barriers. First, there's the nightmare of bundle hell. A show might technically be available on a service you subscribe to, but it's locked behind a more expensive tier or a specific bundle. You might have Max, but that new movie is only on the ad-free plan, not your with ads plan. Or to get a certain set of shows on Hulu, you need the Hulu Plus Live TV bundle, which costs 3 times as much. A show that might be on a standard, basic Netflix plan in Japan could require a premium subscription in the US. The silos have silos inside of them. But nothing represents this artificial scarcity better than the uniquely American frustration of the sports blackout. Imagine you're a fan of the Golden State Warriors. You live in San Francisco, and you pay for the NBA League Pass to watch every game. But when the Warriors play, the game is blacked out on your expensive streaming service. Why? Because a local regional sports network has the exclusive rights to show that game in your specific area, and your streaming package doesn't include it. It is the perfect, maddening example of the streaming paradox. The technology to show you the game exists. You have paid for a service that is supposed to show you the game. But a business deal, a contract signed in a boardroom, prevents you from watching it. It is scarcity by design. We have traveled from a world of broadcast scarcity, where we were limited by what a few channels chose to air, to a new era of digital scarcity, where we are limited by 1,000 different paywalls and business strategies. The central feeling of our time is the one identified in Prospect magazine. It feels like everything is available to us, so it strikes an odd note when something simply isn't. That odd note is the sound of the streaming paradox. The promise of a universal library has been replaced by the reality of the great siloing. The dream of everything, everywhere, all at once, has become a frantic, expensive shuffle between a dozen different apps. Each one a walled garden, each one demanding its own tribute. We have more choice than any generation in history, but we also have more barriers. And as we sit there, scrolling endlessly, trying to remember which service has which show, we have to wonder, is this the golden age of television we were promised? Or is this just a more complicated cage?